these jig sets and the foam can be found at riverroadcreations.com. Now today we're going to be demonstrating on the 7/16 jig, and we're going to be using 7/16 white foam. Now the foam comes in a multitude of colors. You can get on River Road's site and check out all the different colors. But for ease of demonstration, we're just going to use white today. So now I want you to pay special attention to how I hold the jig. A lot of these things, as you start, these will help you make the cuts. Once you get familiar with the jig and how it works, you can kind of do your own thing. But when I'm teaching a class, a lot of these little things I have the students do just to get familiar with the jig and how to hold it and how to make the cuts. So now we've got the 7/16 jig and we've got the corresponding 7/16 rod. Now hold the jig with your thumb and your middle finger here and insert the rod into the face. Insert it right back to the back of this area. We're going to call this the fast back. Okay. So once you've inserted the rod that far, hold it down with your pointer finger. Take your leg needle and insert it through the foam. Go all the way through. Now if you can't push that through, tip it up and use the table to push it all the way through. Now that hole that we put through that foam later on is going to be the hole that we use to install the legs. Okay. Now for you guys that are right-handed, I can't do this on the camera, but slide the jig up to the edge of the table here and off to your right hand side. For those of you who are left-handed, do the other way, but since I'm on camera here, I'm going to slide myself. But holding the jig with your thumb and your middle finger, take the razor blade, set it on the back of the jig, and mostly push, but you can saw a little bit down to the bottom. Now when the blade gets to the bottom, what I want to do is just rest my finger on here. If I don't, the foam wants to tip up right here and leave a little imperfection on the back of your cut. So when your blade gets to here, just put your finger on it and finish the cut and you're done. Okay. Now flip the jig over, slide it up to the edge of the table, hold on to it with your thumb and your middle finger. Hold the back of the blade so you got plenty of blade sticking out there. Now cut this right straight down like that. Reach over the top with your middle finger and hold that. Okay, now we've cut it. Now this cut right here needs to be as perfect as you can make it every time. Foam is extremely abrasive. It will dull your blade in maybe a dozen cuts. Okay, so you can run to Walmart and buy yourself some of these double-edged razor blades. Are only a couple bucks, and I'll show you real quick how I break these things. But be careful; they're sharp. Take them out of the package. Take a pair of pliers and grab it right there on that little thin spot, and bend the opposing side down till it cracks. Just like that. Flip it over, grab it in the same spot, break it. Now you've got two brand new blades. And it's really important that you use real sharp blades all the time. The razor blades that have the hard back on them, the single edge ones, they don't work, because later on I'm going to show you how to take this cut and mate it to another color so that we can create the bicolored heads. Okay. Now once you've made this cut, we need to get that needle out. And the easy way to do it is just push it down on the table. I can stick my thumbnail in the eye and pull it out. Put that back on your magnet on your set. The head falls out and you have a perfectly shaped head every time. Okay. Now this other piece, this is our scrap piece off that first rod. You can slide this thing back in and do the same thing again. You can slide it into the back there, pin it, and make two cuts again. Or an easier way to do it is put it back into your jig, tip the jig up on the table and just tap it a couple times, and then hold it down with your finger and tip it up. Now you can see that is perfectly aligned there. All right. Hold it there with this finger, insert your leg needle right back through the holes, push it all the way through. If you can't get it all the way through, tip it up and push it on the table. Take your razor, hold it so you got lots of blade hanging out there, slide it up to the edge of the table, thumb and middle finger here, and cut right down that fastback again. Now this time when I get to the bottom, I'm going to pull the blade out, and I'm going to drag the blade right through this straight cut right here. Okay, just drag it right straight through there. That cuts the length. Okay, pull your needle out, and you have a second head out of the same rod. So you just cut the price of your popper heads in half by making two. Okay. Now, once we've got this cut, we need to prep it to fit on the hook. The easiest way I've come up with doing that, just take a pencil. I'm using a mechanic pencil. I'm going to do this backwards. Now, if you go right on top of this radius right here, find the top dead center and put a little mark. Okay, I do this with my students. Once you learn how to do this, you don't need to do this anymore. But when you first get started, do this every time and you'll start to figure it out after a few cuts. Okay, so mark the top of that radius, turn it around to the face, and go right in the center of the face, as close as you get to center, and mark it right there. Just put a dot. Now that gives me a target to cut at. So now I've got the head upside down. You can see the fastbacks here. I've got the back end facing me, and I've got the face facing the camera. Pick up your razor blade, hold it as far back as you can. Now all I want you to do is just set it right on your mark there and slide it right down the center of the foam and just barely insert it into the foam. Just get it started. Now turn it around where you can see it and see if it's setting perpendicular to the razor. Okay, if it's setting close to perpendicular there, what I want you to do is turn around to the face, and with a pushing action, don't slide very much, just push it right straight at that center dot right there. Okay, turn the thing around and push the razor right up to the fastback, but don't cut into the fastback. If you do, when we install this on the hook, it'll split and the material will come up through that cut. Okay, now you'll notice how deep I cut that. See, it's cut almost halfway in two. I need it cut that deep so I can install it onto the hook. And the way we install that, take your razor out. When we get ready to install this, we're actually going to take your fingernails and stick them into the head like this and squeeze, and I want that to come wide open. Okay, so the deeper I cut it, the wider it'll open, the easier it is to install. Okay, some guys will take a pair of pliers. If you chew your fingernails, you can use pliers. Take a pair of pliers and grab it towards the bottom here and squeeze, and it'll come open that way. Okay, so you can see how far that's open. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to install this by just barely opening that, because the glue that we use will grab it and roll it in. So make sure you cut it plenty deep. I'll show you how to glue these on later where they'll stay real well. Okay, now on the next video we're going to actually tie the fly, and I'm going to show you how to install the head, install the legs, and we'll see you on the next one.